good insight, and that will help us in getting it. Yeah. Okay. So CEO is with us. So I am a release train engineer inviting the CEO, and she's here. And she's saying, guys, we are Greek Books, and we are here to provide technology professional far richer experience than any brick and mortar bookstore or any online competitor like Amazon, because we are not Amazon. We are just not selling books. We are giving a platform to cultivate, collaborate, and create innovative products. So again, we don't have to understand greekbooks.com for our learning purpose. We are just simulating so that we see how the PI planning meeting probably will happen. So we get some business idea. That's the whole thing. Maybe a CEO talks about it. And she may explain the business context, maybe with the help of target user personas. That would have been better rather than doing strength, weakness, opportunity analysis. She may also gives the details about the what kind of weaknesses the competitor has rather than our only. Whatever is relevant, we come to know what is the business, what is the target segment, and what all of us should do so that we achieve our objective. So CEO gives some information. Now she also explained that, guys, overall, the goal of our first PI, yeah, is like in a way that our goal for first PI is to get the foundational store functionality out of our way so that we can build confidence in our investors, and subsequently we can realize more features as time passes by. So the CEO is expected to give us a big context as well as a business level goal for upcoming planning interval. So we understand that that's a usual thing any business executive will probably give to us. Then we get into details and we invite our product management. The product managements are expected to talk in detail about the features. So they will repeat that we are here to create a platform for technology professionals so that they can have a far richer experience than just reading the book. And then they will get into the details. We will do some tailoring our bookstores for technology professionals. We will have fast search options. We will start in US and expand into a global market. We will support multiple languages, and we will have a community of practice, book clubs, and other features which will enable collaboration. And we will sell other items than books as well. So that's something that more specific details coming from the product management. And they also remind us again that, guys, please don't forget that we want to have an investor demo in 5 weeks time, because we need to create confidence in our investors. So we need to get the foundational store functionality out of our way. But this guy has to give more details. Now, as per the product management, they are saying, guys, we have analyzed our backlog, and these are the 10 features which we are expecting you all to plan. Now, what does it mean? You can say these are WSJF done from your ART backlog, and based on your historical information, the agile release train expect that you should be able to do 10. How much you can plan, we will see in the 2 days. If you can only plan 7, we will do management review and problem solving. But based on historical data, that's the point even Srinivas was saying, if there is a possibility someone may not come, yeah. But based on historical data, they have come prepared for 10 features. So we are saying you have a list of these 10 prioritized features. You can come and get from me. Now, important information, which is given in a coded word here, you have already worked upon with your product owner to build some of the starter stories. So it is like this, as I was explaining as a definition of uncertainty. We don't expect that teams are looking at these features first time now. We are expecting that they have looked at it, they have looked at the user stories of it, they might have done some research around it, and they might have done estimation of those user story already. But if needed, based on what they listen in this particular meeting, they can revisit in the PI planning meeting. So tentative allocation of the features to the team was already done, maybe 1 week before the PI planning meeting, yeah, during the innovation and planning iteration. That's something I have been repeating. Yeah. Any question till here? So CEO is done and product management is done. Now the system architect will come after a while.
So you are saying, Saket, like before the PI planning, the work that might go to the team A, team B, that is already mentioned to them, so that they read it, they come prepared, so that tagging is done already in advance
Perfect. Yeah.
by the team's product owners.
Yeah, so somehow now you need to figure it out how. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
you will have a mechanism for it. It could be said that in a one particular team, the team's product owners are doing. That's a good way to say it. And this is something I keep mentioning, like a stage. You can say that here, when the team was in innovation and planning meeting, these features were given to them, and each team now, based on their historical allocation, based on product owner judgment, based on team capacity, somehow, yeah, and that somehow should be defined at a ART level. They picked it out that okay, this feature I will work, this feature another team will work, and they have started doing investigation during this week so that they are coming prepared. But we are, as the word Rakesh has used, tentative allocation. Why it is tentative allocation? Because final will only happen here. So we are not saying this is a final allocation. Based on management review and problem solving, there could be change. The estimation done for a user story at this level, you may miss some high level information, integration information, which may need to be planned again in a PI planning meeting. As Logo was also mentioning, you may discover some technological change, you update it. Yeah? So we are not saying that you have a very refined plan, but you should have done some homework, and rest of the work you will do during the PI planning. Yeah, so A stage, and I call B stage during the PI planning meeting. And as I think Logo and Srinivas both were saying, there could be something can happen later also. Yeah, maybe a one feature which was 20 pointer may become 100 pointer later. It could be committed, it could be uncommitted, whatever it is. That's a C stage. So over a period of time also we'll keep doing backlog refinement, and those backlog refinement challenges need to be taken care as they arises.
Okay, and just last question on the same page, you stop it.
Okay.
On the in the A stage, like I believe still everything is in the backlog, ART backlog, and and we know, okay, we might get this work, and similarly other team also know, like we might get this work.
Perfect.
So is there any transparency? Okay, which team might get which work, or
yeah, should be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yes. Yeah. Good. So we know. Yeah. So the product management has given us some idea. The business guy has given us a big picture, and we know which feature belongs to where. So we're done with it. Now, architect coming in, system architect coming in. Again, please don't get into the details of what is displayed here. They are just example. We are not saying that similar kind of diagram the architect has to prepare and all. Depending upon your technology, depending upon your area, you may have some mechanism of communicating what is done. Yeah. So as we have learned, a principle number, which was I think 11, where we were saying that best architecture and requirement emerges from self-organizing team. And I said, in the safe word, the architecture has to be little proactive, and we need to have a system architect evolving the architecture a little bit ahead in time, rather than everything comes just at the later stage. So that's a representation. So architect, with the help of enabler, might have done some experiments with the help of teams only already, yeah, maybe EI ago. And based on those experiments, based on the small teams working, now they have a sharing so that everybody gets the common picture, and these people can understand this architecture when they are planning their feature. So here our architect, and she is explaining that, guys, we will use 3-layer architecture. We will have HTML5 as a front end. We will have a business rule WebSphere as a middle, and we will have Oracle as a database. These are the tables which I have created based on your requirement. Book is going to be a center table. Everything will revolve around it. And this is something we have done based on what we understand about the product in advance. We have also identified that platform we will use. We are using Oracle and Java. Again, example, the tables are already created. The data already exists. We have internationalization strategies. And you can also find the performance guideline here. And we also have wireframes and CSS of all the 10 features available here. Again, we are not saying it will be always present, depending upon how your ART defines their rule. Agile release can make a call, but in general, we are saying that some amount of preparation should be done in advance so that PI planning meeting really produce into a good predictable planning, sufficiently predictable planning, and which involves that you have a good understanding of architecture and the UX part of the work. So they give a briefing. Now, architect is still not over, and she also talk about some of the recommendation for your working. She's explaining, guys, you need to integrate frequently. We want to do automatic automation in the integration using Jenkins. Again, example, SAFe is not recommending that we should use Jenkins. But till the time we don't have it, use at least once in a week integration. Again, example, you should be having common branch. Don't create separate branches for the thing for your teams. So keep working on the program branch only and keep committing to it and have an integrated product ready at the end of every week. Again, example of technical recommendation which is given to the whole agile release train for the common purpose. Now this example benefit is that in case we discover as an agile team like Rakesh team, they have done estimation of user stories, but they have not considered all these things before. Now architect talking about so many things, they will say, guys, we need to plan capacity differently. Looks like we need to revisit our estimations and other things, and that can also be a reason for they revisiting their estimation and planning during the PI planning meeting. So this was a briefing. Now we are heading towards the team breakout room activity where we will break into 2 rooms and you will plan one team's draft PI objective. If you have any question till here, then I can resolve. Else I will show you how you do it and how do we probably understand a draft PI preparation process. So if I go to the agenda, here we are somewhere have simulated these 3, and I want to show how possibly we do the breakout session, and then we will do a 15-minute activity where you will do it. Good till here? Hopefully it is making sense now, some level. Okay, so I have done a preparation for you, a detailed preparation with the help of our Jamboard. It's like that I am one team and I'm showing how I am doing my team level breakout activity, and later on you team room number 1 can become a team B, room number 2 will become a team C, and you can do your respective team activities. So that's the plan, and the same Jamboard we will use. So here what you see, the Rakesh question, that we should definitely have a clarity about which feature is going to which team. So here I am showing A, B, C, D, these are the team names. So I can say that we have 10 features which are coming there, and we have a clear place where we can see which feature is worked by whom, because there is a lot of dependencies and all. So there should be a very visible presentation. Each Scrum Master should know it very carefully. Each product owner should know very carefully that, guys, who is expected to do which feature, so that they can collaborate and help us in doing the activity. So that's the one thing which should be done even before the PI planning meeting gets started. That's the information. Now, another thing, we will look into these steps. Each team, Scrum Masters of all the teams should ensure that they have a clear understanding of their estimated velocity for upcoming PI. So what does it mean? We should know who are our team members at a current stage. We should definitely know who is the Scrum Master and product owner. And we should also know their leave plans, the holidays and other stuff. And we should also know our historical velocity, how many story points we have been doing before. If you are doing first time, then you need to do some estimation. Maybe you say that, okay, we do a planning based on number of days and some factor, and we calculate these many story points should be our forecasted velocity. We should do some forecasting of a velocity. So this is like before coming to a PI planning meeting, the Scrum Master should have this information with them. The Scrum Master can work closely with the team that, guys, what should be our estimated velocity? The process should have, your organization should have process so that they know about it. So I hope that thing is clear, that we should know a velocity estimate for our upcoming iterations, the upcoming PI. Now, you may have 4 iterations, which we are planning. Here I'm using same number for all 4, but there is a possibility you may have a different estimate. Maybe in some particular iteration you have an Easter break. You may want to reduce that velocity for that particular iteration. So there's a possibility. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm saying we will have a 24 story point velocity per iteration. Any question till here? We have not yet started doing anything in a breakout room. I'm saying it should be done before coming to the PI planning meeting. Good. So this two information is there. Now the third information, which we have been talking about, A stage, should also be there. Now what is A stage? We should know what are the features, yeah, and what are the possible user stories. So the product owner may do a story mapping workshop, user story exploratory workshop. We may do some technical exploration during the 1 week, because the innovation and planning week, team should get at least 2-3 hours every day to explore upcoming user stories and features. So since the team was getting time and product owner was also working, they should have at least 60-70% of the user stories already understood and identified before coming to the PI planning meeting. Now, after listening to the CEO, after listening to the product management, after listening to the system architect, you may have a new ideas. You can add it. After logos point, that if you have a new exploration of a size also, you can change that. So there is no problem. You can say, because we are still talking about PI planning meeting duration only. Maybe earlier we thought it's a small thing, but after listening to everyone, we think, oh, this is a big thing. Let's change it. So we can revisit our user stories, we can revisit our estimations, but we should have some groundwork done already. Yeah. So you have.
Sanket?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
On the ART level, let's say on the PI planning meeting, we might be aware of only of the features. So this stories which is being broken down. So this will be done by the product owner, correct? The stories product owner will break it, and then
respective
team. Okay. So before the meeting itself, they will break it into the product into the story, so that on the PI planning they will discuss in very detail. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the A stage. Yeah, I want to make sure everybody gets it very, very carefully. So the A stage I keep telling here. Yeah. So before we come to our PI planning meeting, the A stage work should be done. So we have a tentative allocation of the features to the user, the development teams. Development teams collaborates with the product owner. Product owner takes the lead. They divide the user story features into user stories. They add the size to the user stories by way of doing story point estimation. They can revisit it during here. As we said, there could be a new discovery and this will take double. No problem. Now this is the time you can revisit it. Yeah, which means you are going in a team breakout room. You can revisit it if needed, but you already had some amount of user stories and their estimation done before you entered here. But now inside the breakout room, the first agenda Scrum Master will say, now breakout room means all teams are sitting in a different breakout rooms. Scrum Master will say, guys, after listening to this, do we have some new information? Do we need to revisit some of the user stories? Let's quickly revisit all the stories and let us know if you have any question around it. So maybe the first thing in a team breakout room the Scrum Master can do is checking the user stories and their size and taking confidence from people that are on the same page. Yeah. Good. So we have done 3 things by now. One is that you have an understanding of what feature is going to whom. So you all have a visibility, at least the product owner has a clear visibility, and the Scrum Master as well. The second, the Scrum Master has an understanding what kind of velocity we can anticipate. There could be surprises. We are not talking about surprises, but based on our best judgment, what is an anticipated velocity for upcoming 4 iteration? That information is clear. And the third information is, as a team, we have revisited and seen our work, which we have done before on a user stories for a given features, which is allocated to us. We revisit the story point size as well. And if there is a new information, we add the user story here. So these 3 things are done. Good till here? Yeah. Now what do we do? Now it's the time to do an action. So here in my team A, I have a 2 feature. Feature 1, which is called flexible search. Feature 6, which is called book detail. So these features are allocated to me. Now while doing it, I may also define a dependency. Yeah? While we are looking on a user stories, we may say, oh, this user story will need support from other team. We flag that. Yeah? We point out that if we see a risk in a given user story, we also identify that. So we are reviewing all the user story as a first thing as a Scrum Master and development team. Now once that is done, now we need to do planning. Yeah. So here what I have done is I just made a small stickies of the same user stories which are coming from the previous area. So when I say 1.2, it means feature 1 story 2, search by title. That's the naming convention I'm using. Like 6.5, feature 6, story 5. That's how it is. So now what you see here is I have a 4 boxes, which is like iterations. Yeah, this is my capacity. And I have a size of the box is also written here. Yeah, it is based on my historical velocity. I'm telling that these are the 4 iterations, and we can plan up to 24 story points work in each iteration based on our previous information. Yeah, so that's again, this information Scrum Master should be knowing even before coming to the PI planning meeting, but we make sure that we have a 4 boxes identified. Now, what is needed is allocation. We need to just allocate that which user stories will go in a which iteration. Now, as we discussed before, this is done for making understanding of can we commit to it, like Rakesh point, how confident we are, is it too much or too less? And if I say, if my team say we will do these 2 feature, somebody will say how? Show us. Yeah, so we should have a reason, we should have a clarity about how are we planning to do these features, or am I going to finish in a first iteration, like Logo was saying, when do you deliver this feature, in iteration 2, iteration 3, or iteration 4? If you have a dependency, which iteration you have? So that planning should be there, but we do expect there will be more changes here. There is a possibility some stories may move here, some stories may move here. That's a overall refinement will keep happening. For a business stakeholder, we are not committing to this portion. We will commit to objectives. So we'll see how it happens. Yeah. So we are saying, okay, let's start dropping the user stories in this. Here I'm doing little randomly, but you should be doing little more carefully. And I will say, okay, looks like these 3 stories. Yeah, now my size is, my load is 23. Now what is load? The number of story points I have planned. So I have a 3 stories of 15, 5, and 5. So I say I have planned 23 story points in a given iteration. So now Rakesh asking, there could be some variability. Should we keep some contingency or not? I don't know, but keep this information transparent. So Saif is saying you need to take a call depending upon your ideas. Do you need a contingency or not? But when your plan get reviewed, this information should be very well easily available. What was the capacity and what was the loading? So after having the understanding of user stories, after having understanding of capacity, after having understanding of which feature comes to us, the action item is the team is distributing user stories into different iterations. And while distributing it, if they identify some dependency, they also identify that. We can say, okay, this looks like I need to have like a sticky to say, oh, this is something I need an API from another team. So for this, I need something. Yeah? So I identify that. So I identify those things which may have a dependencies here, and I keep planning. Yeah? So here I can say 8 plus 6, 14, 14 plus 5, 8 plus 8, sorry, 16, 16 plus 5. I can say, okay, I will only plan 21 here. Again, there is no rule, but you should have a reasons to explain why you are planning less, why you are planning more. But it is the transparent information which you should do. So each team is doing their planning, and they probably do it in this particular way and keep dropping it out. Yeah, so they can say, okay, this all is done. So here 3 plus 5, 8, 21. Yeah, again, I can say this much I can plan. I can say this is done, 21. Probably I can't plan all. So I will say there are some question mark, out of scope. We can't do it. I need help. Yeah? So I can put help section here. That guys, this is something I can't do. And maybe some areas like here, maybe I can say book. There are 2 areas of book which we are putting as a help. And this is something rest of the things I am planning. Yeah? So book is not planned from me completely. Now, after doing this, I need to summarize my PI objective, which will be the major focus of stakeholder review. I will say, what is my PI objective? In this case, I will say, I am doing feature 1, fast and flexible search. But there is an issue. My team is saying, this predictive text, searching based on predictive text, we are not sure. We don't have a confidence. Yeah. So can we just say, we are planning, but we don't have a confidence we will be able to do it or not. So let's not commit without predictive text. I will say without predictive text. Yeah? And maybe search predictive text I put into uncommitted section. I can say, okay, search predictive text, is here, uncommitted section. Maybe I can plan 50% of the book detail. So I have proposed to split the book detail into two, the basic and advanced. And I'm saying I can do basic, and advanced is I can't do, I don't have a capacity. So I can say that, okay, the another thing I am planning to do here is basic book details. That's something I do. Now, based on this whole thing, I may identify some dependencies. If I have a risk which get discussed in my conversation, I also identify that risk and I put it in the risk dependency section of my draft planning board. And this will be my board, which I will use to present when I get an opportunity for presentation. So all teams will prepare this and they are expected to share it here. Now, please point out here, this was part of my capacity and planning. Here, it is not something extra we are planning to do. Though we are going little too much here, probably I can remove this enabler here, and I can say this is also not planned. If I, just for a sake of clarity, I can say this is a load of 21. So the unpredictable is a part of loading. It's not like unpredictable is something outside. If something I can't do, this is out of my scope. I need to discuss it. Someone has to give me a solution. Maybe they need to remove it or help me to find out how do we do it. So from our stage, we could not resolve it, and we are ready to present this as a problem. So that's my team's PI planning process as a draft planning breakout session. Any question? You need to do it for your teams. I have here. Go ahead.
So
Sorry,
this sorry, go ahead.
Ramya, want to say something?
Sorry.
So whatever we have put it in the help column, right? Can we assign it like can we assign it to some like iteration 4 and make it as uncommitted?
Yes, if you have a capacity, but here I don't have.
Okay.
So that's why I was showing that clearly.
Okay.
That how can I do it, because I have a capacity of 24. I already planned 21, so it will be over capacity. So which is risky thing. And somebody will say, guys, how are you planning to do it?
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything else, anyone?
And all the iterations, like 4 iterations, we can see some stories. So all these are the committed stories or the uncommitted ones?
That's the thing I am saying. So we are not doing commitment at a story level. Our commitment is just here. Indirectly, you can say, since this story portion is uncommitted, so in a way, this story is uncommitted and rest of us is committed. But we are not making a commitment at story level. So what does it mean? It means there is a possibility we may drop this user story, but we may still achieve basic book detail. There is a possibility there may be addition of 2 more stories here, because when we are doing stage C refinement, we may understand that search feature require 2 more user stories. So user stories may get evolved during our team backlog refinement, during our PI execution also. Commitment stakeholders are looking at this portion only.
Okay. So what will happen to that help column stories?
That is, we are going to management review and problem solving. Next agenda, someone has to solve it.
Okay.
Now what can happen is someone else takes it, or my team will get an idea that, guys, remove feature 6, just finish feature 1. Okay, I will replan afterwards. Or Ramya will work with your team. Increase your velocity. You have one more team member. Possible?
Okay.
That is also possible.
So the team members also can be interchanged within the...
So that's a little controversial, but the answer is yes. So during PI boundaries, because we believe the whole agile release train is a big team, there could be anything can happen inside the train.
Okay.
Anything else before you tried your hand on this? Okay, so I give an idea and maybe more questions will come as you try it out. So you have a team B. So the room number 1 will go in a team B section. Please slide to that. And then you have a features. Don't get too much focus on features and user story. You have a ready-made stuff. You directly come here and try to drop and update your capacity and load. And once your dropping is done, summarize PI objective, summarize uncommitted objective. If you have some dependencies or risk, identify that. Yeah. So directly come here. Similarly, the another room, you have team C. You will do your portion like this. Now, anytime you get confused, you can go to my board, yeah, team A board, which you can navigate by going backwards. Yeah. So this is the Jamboard link, which I'm sharing with you now.
Saket, before
Go ahead,
we
go
go
ahead.
there, one big question. Now, when we this board when team is presenting it, right? So we said there's an architecture review which is being done, or the architecture team presents an overview of the technical requirements and everything. So is that time when the team will seek clarity on the stories what they have, or what time would they seek? For example, I might have prepared my estimate and I also put let's say iteration 1, 2, 3, and 4. But at what time do I seek my question clarity from technical or from a story perspective? At what time do I seek the clarity?
So ideally, you should have done it before coming to PI planning meeting. If you
Okay.
have discovered any issue, then you resolve it during breakout session only. Because during
Okay.
breakout session only, you need to identify the estimation of it. Assuming something is missing, you need to get more detail from product owner, product management, another team, system architect. 3 hours are for that only. Yeah, you may participate, go
Okay.
to the
So during the breakout sessions. Okay, fine. Okay.
yeah. Good. Anything else, anyone? So let's try it out, yeah, for around 15 minutes and see what you do for this stuff. So I put 12 minutes and 1 minute as a buffer time. So overall, and you have a link with you, 2 rooms. Room number 1 is team B, room number 2 is team C. And if you have any question, you can call the host. I will come and explain you if it is needed. Yeah, just try it out. I guess you will know well.
Nenga.